Yeah, but he did a cover. He did a cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at the end of the party, at the end of my gig, everyone's lit up and everything. People are tired. It's time to go home. I played that as my last song. All these Filipinos are all singing along, drunk as hell.
Damn, you're that guy, pal. You're that guy.
Yeah, I'm that guy that'll play Pokemon at a pool party and mix it with trap, and people will love it.
Oh, you're gonna have to do that for the podcast real quick.
Yeah. I would love to see that.
You're gonna have to mix Family Matters with That's So Raven.
Full house with the
Family Matters.
Let me just test. Okay, we're good. What's up, guys?
I'm probably gonna have to download those theme songs, man.
Drop some more Hey Arnold clips.
I can hear you, Jarrell.
So what's the Hey Arnold thing?
Oh, I thought you knew about that. Me and Danny went back when Instro was he set up a studio in Mike's room, and we were bored one night, and then we were like, hey, let's do some voiceovers, and we shot him this Hey Arnold clip.
Yeah.
And then he recorded me and Danny just doing a freestyle voiceover, this Hey Arnold clip that Danny has uploaded onto YouTube.
So it's a whole scene with your guys' voiceovers?
Voices, yeah. Yeah. And Instro is the one who fucking recorded that.
That's dope.
You still go by Instro? No, it's JeffTunek now.
Yeah, it's just JeffTunek.
Play the soundbite. My name is Jeff.
Oh, you want me to play? Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
My name is Jeff.
That is so dope. So, one thing I found out about our podcast, listening to it, is we talk like the audience know what's up. So let's act like the audience doesn't know anything at all. So this is Jeff, one of our good friends. He's a DJ in Vegas and producer still.
Yes.
Still a producer. And he's on the podcast. So welcome.
Welcome, Jeff.
Hello, bro.
Hey.
Thanks for coming.
Welcome,
So we were
Jeff.
talking about before we got distracted and setting up all the mics and the lights and all that. We're talking about the pandemic and what it did to my industry and what it did to your industry. I was curious, did anyone try to book any like secret parties? Because I mean, I know that stuff was going on around the time, right?
Secret parties. Good question. I'm trying to remember. Did anyone try to book any secret parties?
That's a secret.
Well, during 2020, no.
Okay.
No one tried to book any secret parties. But then the only gigs I did in 2020, which was there wasn't much gigs for me, of course, because that's when the pandemic was fresh, were last-minute weddings.
Huh.
Last-minute weddings. Like, I'm talking about, like, hey, you available for this wedding? Yeah. Oh, it's tomorrow. It's like, I'm not gonna say no because gotta make my pera. So here I am taking this last-minute wedding and pulling an all-nighter to get ready for it, and then boom, the next day we doing it this was back in July 2020. It was at the Wynn, and here's the thing.
Nice.
It was a bunch of Armenians. So I'm Filipino, so I don't know no Armenian music, so I had to research Armenian music the night before.
How is that? Do you have to do that a lot? Like, let's say, hey, we like country music, so play some country music. How do you go about like researching that genre to be like? Because what if you play some whack stuff? You know what I mean? What if you play some whack Armenian music and they're like, woo?
Well, the thing is, if it's a wedding or a private event, they're gonna give me they're gonna provide those songs there.
That's easier, huh?
So like, so obviously the Armenian people, they're like, we want these songs played, and they're gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot to them. To me, I can't understand it.
It's just
but I will say this. But what was the highlight of that night was, I'm playing the traditional Armenian music. They're all going in a circle with their hands and everything. And what I did was like, I duplicated. I don't know if you guys, I'm going to try to make it simple, okay? So if one song is playing on, say, this deck, what I did was I duplicated it to another deck, right?
okay.
So the duplicate's playing, and so what I'm doing is I'm getting one phrase that's an Armenian, and I start cutting it up on the chorus, and everyone's just going wild because they're like, dude, this Filipino DJ's cutting up Armenian phrases. I don't even know what the phrase is, but they thought it was dope.
Hey, I will say, going to Vegas a lot and seeing DJs over there, there's not a lot of people that scratch anymore, man, and you're fucking wicked at it.
Oh, well, thank you. That's due to my production background. So
Yeah.
I caught on to scratching quick because my first instrument was drums, and then second was piano, and then third was rapping, and then fourth was this right here.
So wasn't the history of scratching like people that wanted to play instruments didn't have an instrument but they had record players, so in order to make new music they would scratch and like juggle the beats and stuff? Do you know about the history of scratching?
Yeah, I know. So before there was scratching, there was looping.
Yeah.
And the first DJ to do that was Grandmaster Flash. He's the one that discovered. Have you guys seen the Get Down on Netflix? Yeah, you know the whole thing about the crayon and the marker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what it is that just how I was talking about when I duplicated the Armenian song to 2 decks. That's like equivalent to 2 records, but digitally because it's MP3. And so what Grandmaster Flash did was he was like, all right, how do I keep this beat going? Because like on the Get Down, there was what you call the break, right? Mm-hmm. So the break is the part of the song where there's no lyrics and it's just drums and maybe a bass guitar or something.
Yeah.
And that's the part where he wanted to loop, but he wanted to know how to loop it, and somehow he found out by using a crayon. To mark where the start of that beat is, and then from there he was able to go back and forth, to make it continuously loop. So before there was Fruity Loops, before Ableton, before Logic was that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I see a lot of.
As a matter of fact, if you guys, let me move my camera. So on like, does this thing?
It's a weird POV.
All right, so can you guys see? Can you guys see that red line right here?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much equivalent to a marker, on a record. The thing is, it's digital.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna put some. I'm not gonna play anything, but I'm just gonna show. Well, what's this? Child's Play by Drake. So, for example,
Child's Play by Jeffrey Epstein.
Stop.
This guy.
That'd be a funny shirt.
So that's the start. So where it is in the middle is where the kick drum is. There.
Gotcha.
Does that show where the kicks and the drums are? Digitally, like on the waveform?
Yeah, depending if you mark it.
Oh, okay.
If that makes sense. Because with the new technology, compared to back in the days with records, you would mark it, and how do I say it? You would put a cue point on the song or on the first part of the beat. So it's called a cue point, and when you apply a cue point with a controller like this, it'll show that marker. That makes sense.
Is it quantizing?
What's that?
Is it quantizing?
No, it's not quantizing.
Ah, damn it.
I think
you're all over here Googling stuff real quick.
I used to produce on fucking Fruity Loops Mobile fucking on the iPad, Jeff. And I learned a lot off of it because I watched a lot of YouTube videos and stuff on it. You could make some pretty cool stuff on the iPad.
You can.
You get down on the iPad, right? I've seen you bust some shit on the iPad.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I believe Jermaine remembers back when they got the OG iPhone, and Mike used to hook up the iPhone to his into the aux of his BMW. and I would start making beats, like drumming, finger drumming on the phone, and Mike's like, "Oh shit!" So we just rolling, and I'm just doing live beats with his phone.
Dude, you got some. I've been in the room. I've seen you make a beat, so I've seen your fingers, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, man.
What kind of beats do you like making? Because I know there's different types of like genres of hip hop instrumentals, right? There's like inspirational. There's go hard. There's let me look back in life type shit, and there's like R&B dance style, right? Like as far as like your producer side, what do you like making?
You know what? Producer side, what do I like making? I like making. Well, back in the days, I made two kinds of beats. Okay, one would be boom bap, like that boom bap sample vinyls, sample songs, hip hop, East Coast style.
That's
And
his.
then the second style I had was West Coast funk. Like with the synth bass.
That's my
the
style.
Heavy drum, kick and claps.
Funky bass lines.
What's that?
The funky bass lines and stuff.
The funky bass lines, yeah. So to answer your question, I know I'm going all over the place, but to answer your question on what I like to make these days, or it's pretty broad. Because one day I'll make tech house, disco house, and the next day I'll make trap. So I'm kind of all over the place.
That's the thing about you.
It really depends on my mood. So
yeah, you can do like a lot of different things. When I like sit down and make a beat, it tends to be some dark. Andrew knows.
Yeah, I've seen these beats.
Some dark bass line like Tyler the Creator, old school beats,
Yeah. Future type stuff.
So I was wondering if you had like a genre that you kind of like retort to, but no, yeah, you're all over the place. Like you make parody songs, you make pop music. I remember this song that Jermaine sent me with Mike. I think Mike was on auto-tune, right?
Oh yeah.
To the club. I spat a verse on that shit. That shit was like some fucking T-Pain type shit, man.
I think Mike was on auto-tune, right?
Yeah, Mike was on auto-tune.
Like he was just fucking around. I remember you guys were just fucking around.
It's a fun song.
Yeah, and I remember I was, me and Mike were just jamming out, and at the time, I had a girl from London, so I was flying back and forth to the UK, and so that's why it had a faster beat, because I was influenced by their sound at the time. And those vocal chops, right? Remember, how I chopped up Mike's voice?
Yeah, I remember that.
And was able to like, go in rhythm with the beat. So they were doing that in the UK with the current songs at the time, back in 2020. Yeah, 2008.
What's up with the UK? I feel like the UK is more advanced musically. Like we catch on kind of later than like UK. Because I remember when Tyler the Creator was on the come up, they would do UK tours. And I think they were bigger in UK before they were bigger here, right? And that kind of became a trend for up and coming rappers.
Right. So you're asking me if it's advanced over there?
Yeah, I mean, like, are they more influential? What's the difference between like their scene and our scene musically? Are they more in tune? Are they more sophisticated fans of the music compared to us over here, who just like mumble rap and like, oh, it sounds good type shit,
Well, I'll say like as far as electronic music is concerned, UK I feel they're definitely ahead of the game. Because I knew about dubstep in 2006 before it blew up here in like 2010 or 11.
Yeah.
And so and grime, like you guys know that new song by let me pull it up. J&R Chow, To the Moon.
Is it trap music?
Yeah, it's trap, but it's actually grime. It's just that it sounds like trap.
Huh.
And so that song's blowing up right now, and this guy's from the UK. And there's a genre called grime, which is pretty much similar to trap.
So it's like a subgenre of trap.
it's a subgenre of trap. With trap and grime's been around a long time.
Huh.
Yeah.
Trap's been kind of the subgenre of electronic like dance that's been kind of blowing up recently. A lot of people are into trap music. It's crazy.
Yeah, and you could actually, what I find interesting is you could actually mix trap with house, depending on the BPM. They work together.
So going to Vegas, you're kind of, would you say you're predominantly a hip hop artist, DJ? What would you categorize yourself as?
I would categorize myself as an open format DJ.
That's not fair for my question. I was gonna say like, what do you think of? Because I feel like when I went to Vegas, there were people that, oh, I like hip hop, and there are people like, oh, I like EDM. You know what I mean? As a DJ, you kind of, and as an open format DJ, you kind of have to know how to mix EDM music and know how to mix hip hop rap, which is kind of a different art. Would you say?
Yeah, but you know what? Sorry to be all over the place, Darrell, and to answer your question, as far as when I moved to Vegas, what kind of like you were saying, was I a hip hop DJ when I moved to Vegas? I would say I was, but I was also learning to be open format because my mentor told me that if in order to be successful in this town, I'd have to be open format. That way I can get as many gigs as possible and make a living.
Huh. Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah, so it's like a lot of times, I guess I'll go back to my first professional gig back in 2014. I got fired. And this was not even in Vegas. It was in Cali. It was in Rancho Cucamonga.
Damn. What happened?
And you know why I got fired?
What happened?
Play the rock genre.
Because I was just playing hip hop and top 40 from radio. And this venue wanted more variety than that. So it's like I didn't do anything wrong as far as like the songs and mixing them. I just didn't play for the crowd, is what I was told. And so from there, I had to change things up a bit.
Yeah.
What was the demographic of that crowd?
What was the demographic? It was it was Asians, blacks, whites, and Mexicans.
Okay. I guess you had to hit
a little bit of everything.
I also remembered that somebody requested Suavemente, and I didn't know what Suavemente was. Suavemente.
You played Mr. Suave.
Mr. Suave?
Play wobble.
I feel like, so Andrew is a stand-up comedian. And as a stand-up comedian and a DJ, and even as a rapper, right, like, a lot of your shit, even though you have something like a script, like a set list or jokes pre-made or a playlist set, that kind of goes out the window when you're on stage, right? Because you kind of have to play to the crowd. Or do you kind of stick to the script? What's your plan of attack?
That's a good question. Well, a lot of times when I go to a gig, whether it's at a bar or it's at a pool party, I have multiple scripts saved, and I also know how to improvise.
Tell him.
So I know how to improvise. I mean, there are times when I'll go in there prepared because, like, say, management tells me, "Oh, our format here." Like, for example, Planet Hollywood Pool. Were you guys there?
That pool is cracking. I haven't been though in a while, but that pool is pretty cracking.
Okay, so my first time playing at Planet Hollywood Pool was in 2017, okay? I was told that it's an EDM format. I was like, all right. So I did an all-nighter pretty much till 5 in the morning, like trying to be current with the EDM music. I go there, I play EDM, nobody's feeling it.
Oh, shit.
Nobody's feeling it. I'm like, all right, well, I better go to plan B. So I started playing like songs that people know, like Bruno Mars at the time, like Bruno Mars, Uptown Funk, Can't Stop the Feeling, and like, you know, songs that were just really popular to this certain crowd, and it rocked. I was like, okay, so I guess I don't have to play just EDM. So then it became a thing. Every time I played there, look at the crowd. Oh, this looks like an '80s crowd. Let's play some Michael Jackson and Prince. You know, oh, it's a Filipino crowd. You know, the icebreaker is Bevel. You know, or this is what's that?
Achy breaky heart.
The Macarena.
The Macarena, yeah, and then mix it with the Tiger version right after.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
So yeah, so pretty much, you know, as an open format DJs, you go there, you just look at the crowd, and you just know. With you know, in my perspective, I just know what to play, what to start with, how it's gonna go down, and then I also look at. See, here's the thing: these gigs are either 4 to 6 hours, so it's almost like.
Jeez.
It's almost like chess. Like I have to be 10 steps ahead of everybody to get the vibe going.
So what did you say then, that being an open format DJ would actually make you a better DJ?
Yes and no, because open format doesn't always work. I've been in situations where they want just one style of music.
Mm-hmm. No, what I guess what I meant to say is, like, you know, learning how to operate as a open format DJ is kind of giving you ways to think and create your stuff, right? Like, it's kind of giving you a different edge, or has your process still been the same since kind of leaning towards being an open format DJ?
You know what? I would honestly say, from my perspective, that open format has made me a better DJ for sure.
Okay.
Because from there, you know, there's no set rules. You just do what you want. You know, you just do what you want. Like, you know, like remember when the Pokemon game? You guys remember Pokemon when that game was?
Yeah.
Is it still going on right now?
Yeah, actually, it's not as cool as it was, but
I don't even know half those motherfuckers, but yeah, they're still going on right now.
Yeah, I mean,
New Pokemon every week.
Well, back in 2016, I remember in summertime, Pokemon was you know, the thing.
Mm-hmm.
right.
You know, it was the thing, and I remember playing at a bar, and I'm like, you know what? What's gonna be an icebreaker tonight? What's gonna get these people going?
You did not play Pokemon, bro.
All right, this is what I did. I was
Oh
playing
my
Drake.
God.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna get to that point. I was playing like Drake. I was playing Future, you know, for this crowd, and I'm like, all right, you know what? So what I did was so while a Drake song is playing on one deck, I bought the Pokemon theme song off iTunes while the Drake song was playing and people are dancing. And I'm like, all right. So I buy it, download it, put it on a deck, queued it up, went on the microphone, echoed out the Drake song. I was like, hey, yo, everybody, who over here loves Pokemon? And everybody started screaming, like, yeah, we love Pokemon. Because it was the thing around that time.
It was.
And so what I did was, all right, and then what I did was I scratched it in, boom, dropped it, and everyone went nuts.
I would.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a great feeling.
the scratching intro too is undeniable. You know what I mean? If you're good at scratching and you mix in, you gotta catch 'em all. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna get a reaction out of it.
Yeah, and I remember I mixed it. Oh, dude, everybody went nuts because from the chorus of, you know, gotta catch them all, and all of a sudden it mixed to down in the DM, and everyone just went bananas because it's like they never heard that transition before.
I want to hear that shit. That sounds dope. Do you record your sets?
Yeah.
Do you record your
You should
sets?
have that.
What was that?
Do you record your sets?
Sometimes.
Damn.
Hey,
So
so what?
recorded that stuff though, but yeah.
So what made you transition to this more full time? Because, like, I remember for a while you're just producing was your bread and butter, and now it just, to me, it seems like you're just doing DJ now, unless you're just doing producing behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, I got more into DJing these days because I mean, you know, to be honest with you, it pays the bills.
Right.
Some people might say, "Oh, you're a sellout. You're just doing it for the money." But here's the thing. Yes, I'm doing it to survive.
He said
but
yes.
I grind. I grind. You know what I'm saying? I work. Like my day job's pretty much prepping music all day, scratching, practicing, trying to innovate different types of transitions. So it's still I'm an artist first before the money, if that makes sense.
No, I got you. We all got to live too, you know. So
Yeah, we all
come from weddings.
What was that?
Do a lot of your gigs come from weddings?
Well, before I stopped the nightlife, it was everything, bro. Everything. It was weddings. It was, small clubs, bars. It was quinceañeras. I started attracting Latin people because I learned how to play Latin music.
Gotcha, yeah, because my wife's a wedding videographer. She's in the wedding industry, and everybody's getting married. There's an endless supply of people getting married. So yeah, I see a lot of DJs and all sorts of things. There's other applications for doing video as well.
Yeah, oh yeah, and the wedding scene is huge too. Have you ever did stand-up comedy at a wedding?
I mean, kind of. When I was best man for my brother, when I had to do a toast, that's when I did some bits.
That must have been an epic speech, man, because you must have had everyone cracking up.
It was fun. It was fun.
Cool.
You strike me as a person who is super passionate about music. That the work and the grind doesn't even feel like work and grind. You know what I mean? It's like a person who plays video games as a living. It's like, I gotta work, but that work is playing video games. You know?
Yeah.
So with that said, what is the most tedious part about the grind? I know you're passionate about the whole thing, but what part of it do you hate the most?
The most tedious part would have to be just downloading music and prepping them would probably be the most tedious. And trying to stay current. I mean, because there's so many songs that get released more so these days than in the past. You agree?
Yeah, it's true. There's more avenues for music to come out too, and any jabroni can come out with music too.
Yeah, and sometimes I get overwhelmed because I'm like, all right, there's so many styles of music and so many releases, and you kind of don't, you have to do your research on what's gonna work on a dance floor and what's gonna work on a set the mood type of vibe. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Certain songs you just want to just chill, conversate, relax, set the tone, and then there's certain songs where you want to play to get the dance floor popping.
Yeah, I've had the aux cord before. I know what it's like. Speaking of having the aux cord, I feel you though, because when you have the aux cord, some people really take that as honor, and when I have the aux cord, I plan 4 or 5 songs ahead. After this song, it's dancey, I might hit them with a hard song and then slow it back a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So kind of the same as a DJ, right?
Hey, you have the foundation right there, my man. You have the foundation.
What I was gonna ask you is, as an open format DJ, you pretty much open anything. Is there a genre that you'll do, but you're not really too excited about doing it?
You know what? Yeah, and with all due respect, I mean, you already know what it is. Pomona, California is my hometown, and country can get a little cringy. It can. With all due respect, I mean, I've learned to like some of the songs, and I would have to say that the current country doesn't even really sound like country.
Yeah, they gotta branch out.
Some EDM country?
They have that country rap going on, which is not too bad.
Country grammar.
Yeah, he started it.
Country grammar, baby. Let's go.
Oh yeah, hot ish.
I bet you if you played at a country get together, they're gonna go wild when that song comes on.
The country grammar?
Yeah. Watch. Oh shit! This is country grammar.
I mean, you know, the South, you know, like the South music, they do, the country heads like it for sure.
Yeah.
There was a group that my girl liked back in the day, because my girl's from Nashville. And
That's how you listen to country music now, huh?
yeah, she schooled me. She saved me a few times with these gigs. Now I could be a country DJ.
I want to hear you mix some country music because I can't put in my head how you transition.
Luke Combs. I want to hear some Luke Combs.
Well, Luke
Garth
Combs.
Brooks. Oh, he busted into Garth Brooks.
Some Garth Brooks with some Chris Brown. Fire.
Oh yeah, all day.
He would.
All day. You could do Tim McGraw. I mean, depending on the beat.
I'm more of a Shania Twain, so.
I like the Dixie Chicks.
Leanne Rhymes.
Oh, I mean,
So previously on the podcast, like a few episodes ago, we were talking about how some people that are fans of music, they gravitate towards like the beat sometimes, you know? And there's people that gravitate towards the lyrics and like the meaning of it. And I made a joke about country music, like there's no way they're attracted to the beat. It's more so the message of what country music is saying, you know what I mean?
That's pretty much what it is. I mean, like you hear a guy pour his heart out.
Yeah.
Like you listen to it, you're like, this is actually kind of sad.
When you see people into country music, they're not like bobbing their head. Their eyes are closed and they're like singing the story. You know what I mean?
Feeling it and shit, you know, they're emotional. They're like, a guy talk about, you know, a guy could talk about his truck leaving him, and everyone's gonna be like, dude, I know what that feels. I would hate for my truck to leave me.
He's like, is he talking about a girl or a truck, dog? Like, I don't know
who's
anymore.
Ford and who's Chevy?
Well, here's the thing, like, cause you're talking about country songs that are sad, right? Like, they're like this is some emotional stuff, and my girl's older brother likes that style of country.
You should check.
But the country that I spin is more happy, like dancing country.
Okay.
Oh, okay. What's that like? Like what would that be?
Like Luke Bryan, country girl, shake it for me. You know.
You know, somewhere in there, probably something sad is like a hidden meaning. But
It's like, I'm happy because I used to be sad.
Yeah, like
all the feelings.
Like the country bangers that I typically play, they're more happy music, you know, whiskey drinking, do-si-do type stuff.
Yeah, there's
Southern
that
emo.
too.
Southern.
Southern emo.
That's great. So there's a subgenre of country called Southern emo.
But country music is probably, like, population-wise, there's more people into country music than any other genre. Would you guys say?
You know what?
Because it's pretty big. As much as we're bagging on it, country music is huge, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it is. I mean, like, cause I mean, I stayed. I've been to Nashville many times and actually stayed there during quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it's big over there. You know, because that's Music City. You know, a lot of country artists record in Nashville. But here's the thing, though. Hip hop is big over there too, and believe it or not, reggaeton is huge in Nashville.
Huh.
No shit.
You know why? Because there's a big Hispanic community there.
Okay,
There's a part of Nashville that's like Little Mexico, pretty much.
Oh, shit.
They got like taco trucks and auto shops everywhere.
He said auto shops. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Auto shops.
Hey, so you used to DJ at the Taco Bell Cantina Lounge, right?
Yeah.
That's like an after-hour spot too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, you know I have to ask you the craziest thing you've ever seen, because I'm sure you've seen some sloppy wappies.
I'm trying to think of.
He's like, I got in on some of that sloppy water.
You kind of orchestrated this. You have power to orchestrate more
like,
sloppy woppies, or like.
Oh yeah, so you probably seen my stories of me rocking it at Taco Bell.
Yup.
Yeah, I think the most bizarre thing I've ever done was trolling people. Oh, hilarious!
Like how?
I've trolled people. I've pissed off people and then made them happy again.
Damn.
A good example is I'm playing "Turn Down for What." Okay, they're loving it. And then before everybody could sing "Turn Down for What," I freaking duck down and start playing the Friends theme song. And they're like, "What the hell?" And then they go with it. So I'm gonna show you an example real quick.
Yes, give it to me.
If I were to use it.
We want to hear some of that intro.
All right.
You gotta hear this guy hit the fucking drum pads too, dog.
Yeah.
Whatever you
Turn
do,
off.
50%.
All right.
My name's Jeff.
Here it is.
One of the best tags in the game.
Soldier Boy. Yeah, I gotta do the damn for y'all kind of Soldier Boy.
I don't know. I'd be pretty hyped if that happened to me. Be like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah. But they were like, yeah, it's like instead of "Turn Down for What," boom, I put in the Friends song, and then I went to crank that because it's called wordplay. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'll be there for Joe.
Damn. That's the advanced stuff that I appreciate. I'm a fan, man. So, something I hate about DJs. I don't know what it is, and I don't think you do this. Maybe you do, but I feel like they play songs that need to be retired already. Like Lil Jon, "To the Window, to the Wall." Like, I feel like that song ran its course. It's time to take it out of the rotation, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like that's and that DMX "Y'all Go Make Me Lose My Mind," like that's like a go-to song that some DJs have, but I feel like it's ran its course. It's time to retire it. Do you have any go-to songs that are like you find yourself playing often as a means to kind of buy time to set up the next song? Because I feel like that's what those songs are for the other DJs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's interesting you brought that up because like "Party Up" is probably like one of my go-tos because it's just it's something I would play during prime time.
Yeah.
Catches their attention. But I feel you. Has it been played so many times? Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Uh-huh.
So my thing is that if I do drop "Party Up," I wouldn't play the whole song.
Yep. You just get that reaction out of them, right?
You just get that reaction and it's usually a surprise, so they're not expecting "Party Up." So when I drop it, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
like it's like you playing Friends, and all of a sudden just how like I went from that to crank that. It's like, whoa, what the heck? But oh yeah, it goes with it in a way. But same thing with "Party Up." It's just one of those songs. Like if I don't play it at like say a wedding, someone's gonna request it anyway. But I only played like the intro part, the first verse, the chorus, and then the bridge. Because have you guys ever heard of edits?
Yeah, do you have any edited tracks that you keep in the rotation? Because I know some DJs do that, right?
Yeah, I have, bro. I have probably since 2019 is when I started doing edits of songs. And the point of doing edits, I'm gonna try to break it down for you guys. Is that, let's see, Jermaine, what's one of your favorite R&B songs?
Shit. Tevin Campbell. Can we talk?
Oh, okay. Hey, good one. That's a good one because I did an edit to that song. Okay. So Tevin Campbell, right?
Okay.
So, do you guys understand song structure? Like
Somewhat.
like verse,
Yeah,
chorus, intro.
Bridge.
Okay, well that's what. Okay, I didn't know that's what it was called, but okay, yeah, I know that stuff.
Yeah.
So I have an edit to where the bridge comes after the first chorus.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay.
So a lot of the songs that I do edits, it's not just R&B, it's hip hop as well. It's a lot of the songs that have this bridge that everybody loves to sing along to. A good example is Usher's "Yeah," right? That ludicrous part at the end.
Yeah.
Right? But how long does it take to get to that part? Right?
Yeah,
It takes forever. And I've had people like come up to me get mad because I skipped that part. See, that's another thing with weddings is people get mad when they don't hear their favorite part of the song. And so, one time a bride, okay, like for example, How Will You Know by Whitney Houston. She went up to me all pissed off. She's like, you better play the song again. I was like, what? She's all, you skipped my favorite part. Oh, and that's the bridge. So after that, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna start doing edits on songs so these people don't come up to me all pissed. And ever since then, it's been great because it's kept the energy going with the sets.
Yeah,
that's what's up. That's like a learning mindset, though. Like I said, like we were talking about how you became a open format DJ. Like you come up with a plan A, if it doesn't work, you have a plan B, C, and D. You know what I mean? Opposed to a person who's like specific genre, like EDM. You play at a venue where they don't like EDM. That person can easily be like, these guys don't feel my shit. They're kind of stubborn, you know what I mean? There's no growth from coming. There's no growth that comes with they're not feeling my shit. Somebody else will feel my shit. Opposed to you, it's like, like maybe they'll react to this song. Maybe I'll try some other stuff. So I feel like that's kind of the creative process that you go through being an open format DJ that bears fruits later on. Because now it feels like, I mean, being open format, isn't music kind of like a language in a sense? Being a DJ and seeing how it like influences people, sets people in a mood. It's kind of like in a kind of spiritual sense. It's kind of weird, right? Music.
Yeah, because it could either make you happy, sad, mad, or just jump for joy. It's interesting that as a DJ, I have a total control of the room with the songs that I have.
And I bet you see people at weddings go crazy over the person who's really quiet and reserved that ends up fucking busting a groove randomly because you played a song that they like, you know?
Yeah.
Played my song.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I've done so many weddings and I've seen people. Here's the thing with DJing, like you can't please everybody. That's one thing I got to discuss. You can't please everybody. I've had scenarios.
Life in general, bro.
Yeah, just life in general, and the same thing. I've had scenarios where one person gives me the thumbs down, but everybody else is enjoying the music. So I'm like, I don't care.
Where's that guy?
Who cares?
Your life probably really sucks. You probably complain about everything.
Pretty much. Pretty much, I've seen it. I mean, some people don't even like open format. I remember last month I played at a club, and it was a birthday party. It was the 35th birthday, so they pretty much rented out the club in Tropicana. And this was like the most hostile crowd I've ever came across.
How really hostile? What the fuck?
I'm gonna try to make this story short. So before the dancing part started, this girl comes up to me, is like, "Can I make a request?" And I'm like, "Well, let's do the formalities first, and then I'll take your request." So we do the formalities. She comes back. Can you play Suavemente? I'm like, in my head, I'm like, Suavemente is the first song that set off the floor? You got to build up to that. So I told her I can play it like at the right time. She's like, no, why don't you play it now? Like all rude.
Jeez.
Like, play it now. I was like, no, I'm gonna play it at the right time. And she's like, why don't you just play it now? Then I just kind of just ghosted her. I'm like, whatever. started rocking it with the first song that I had in mind, which was "In the Club" by 50 Cent, because it's a birthday girl.
Yep.
You know, what do you want to hear is no Suavemente yet. They need a drink.
Go shawty, it's your birthday.
What's up?
Go shawty, it's your birthday. Get a few of those.
So I started. We're gonna start off with Suavemente, but see, here's the thing: this girl was yelling me to play Suavemente. You know, and then there was another scenario. There was like two more scenarios. One scenario was when I played Jump Around. People were feeling it, but there was this random girl on the dance floor going like this to me. And I'm just like,
I don't like this.
yeah, like, you know, like, why are you playing Jump Around? You know, but everyone else was liking it. And then there was another scenario where I played Teach Me How to Dougie, and because there was a Latin crowd, I went to Gasolina by Daddy Yankee. And some other person kind of snarled at me like, put their hands up like, what are you doing? And then she turned around and saw everybody going wild, and then she started going with them. I'm like, these freaking people. I'm like, freaking people. But
so as a DJ, do you kind of, let's say, you know, you're setting off, the dance party's about to start, first song, right? No one's dancing really. Do you kind of just focus on the people kind of dancing and try to up their energy, or do you kind of just look generally at people and try to get them to dance? Or do you try to look at, this person's the life of the party, if this person dances and everyone will follow? Because sometimes it only takes one, right?
yeah. So
Do you have like target? Do you have targets, kind of?
he should be a DJ, bro. It seems like you already know what's up. But yeah, I look at the crowd. So what I do is I observe the type of people in the venue. You know, whether it's Jermaine with his fitted cap, or your ass with a mask, or my boy with the glasses right there about to crack a joke or something, right? Yeah, there you go. See, when I look at you, bro, I know what to play. When I look at Jermaine, okay, I have a feeling I know what he likes. When I look at the mask right there, I might play Mask Boy. I might play like Danger Mouse or something.
Yay.
But
Or Mask Off by Future.
Or Mask Off by Future. Oh yeah, that song was the thing.
Or some Phantom of the Opera.
You never know.
Yeah, there might be a Phantom of the Opera EDM mix or something.
Fuck.
Dun 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 dun. All right. Anyway, but yeah, I look at the crowd. First thing I do is I observe.
Mm-hmm.
I see where the energy's at. Some groups are gonna dance more than others, and there's also icebreakers too that I throw in. And one of them is a conga line. That's usually an icebreaker, because when you do a conga line, you get everybody on the floor. So it's like you set them up for that right hand. I'm pretty sure everyone here's boxing fans, so it's like you set them up. They all go on the floor, and then you throw in a banging song, and boom, you got a full dance floor.
When you have people like everybody in the fucking party doing a conga line, are you just like, got him? Like I could play fucking anything, and these fuckers will eat off my hand.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, all right, I got him. So they're gonna go to the middle of the floor, and then I just throw in a song with a banging intro, like for example, "Lean Back" by Fat Joe. Oh, and then everybody goes wild. Now Grandma's dancing to "Lean Back."
It's funny. Like Jermaine said, you kind of started out as a producer in the beginning, and then became more DJ focused, right?
Yeah.
What inspired you? Like, what got you into first being a fan and then finally crossing that threshold of like, I'm gonna pursue this practice? You know what I mean?
So a former classmate of mine from college. It goes by the name of DJ Santos here in Vegas. So he went to Citrus College back in 2004, 2003 for the recording arts program. You know, that they had at Citrus. So they had a recording arts program. So that's pretty much music production, recording, and all that good stuff. And for all you World of Warcraft fans out there, the soundtrack was recorded at my school. But anyway, I lost touch with him in 2006. And I found him on Facebook in 2013, okay? And he was like, hey, bro, come see me at Boiler Room in Redlands. Wait, you DJ now? And he's one of those people where I would never thought he'd be a DJ.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, this guy DJ? Like, you know, because everybody I know that are DJs started in high school. You know, scratch DJs.
Like they were in a trajectory to be a DJ. Like you knew they were working on being it. Yeah.
Whereas this guy was into singing, guitar, recording vocals, and he was he worked various management jobs like at Rainbow Cafe and Yard House. So for him to be a DJ, I was like, what? All right, I'm gonna come check you out. So I went to check him out, and I was blown away.
Mm-hmm.
This guy was killing it. And this guy was mixing cumbia with hip hop. He played La Sonora Dinamita with Too Short. I was like, dang, this guy's breaking all kinds of rules, but he's killing it. The crowd's loving him. And that's when I was introduced to open format. I'm like, dang. Like, and then from there I was like, bro, you do this for a living? This was in 2013. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, yo, man, I want to do this for a living too. He's all right, I'll mentor you then.
Hell yeah.
So around that time in 2013, I did have a DJing background, but it was more of a hobby. I never thought of being professional with it.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of a hobby. So from there, you know, he mentored me, he taught me open format, and then, you know, and then I started doing like little gigs here and there, and it wasn't really great in the beginning. Here's the thing. I knew how to blend. I knew how to cut a little bit. I just didn't know the right music for the right people at the right time. Does that make sense to you guys?
Makes a lot of sense, yeah.
The right music for the right people at the right time. I did not understand that, and so it took me about like 2 years, but I wasn't gigging that much in Cali because I had a day job. So it took me about 2 years to get it down, and finally when I moved to Vegas, boom, everything just went sky high.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I went from gigging once every 2-3 months to gigging every week.
Dang.
1 shift a week, 2 shifts a week. This is starting in 2016. Then it got to the point where I was gigging 4 days a week. So all that experience, man, just like pretty much took over. So I learned quickly by moving to Vegas.
For sure. I can only imagine. That might be the best place to go as a DJ, would you say? If you're an up-and-comer?
Yes, it would be the best place to go. But because there are so many DJs in this town,
yeah,
I wouldn't want to say the competition's high here, because you do have places that are easier to play at. Like, for example, like, you know, like, let me talk to, because I know I talk to you a lot, Darrell, and I talk to Jermaine a lot, but let's say my boy right here, the comedian, right, stand-up guy. So let's just say, all right, stand-up guy, what kind of music do you like? Like, if you were a DJ, what would you be spinning?
Like top 40 hip hop.
Okay. So there are places that would allow you to just play that.
Mm.
You don't have to be open format at all. And the crowd that will be there will enjoy the music because that's what they're expecting. Yeah. So, yeah. But it doesn't always work that way because I've been in places where they say it's this format, but crowd ain't feeling it.
You're like, why'd you screw me, bro?
What's that?
It's like, why'd you set me up for that one?
No, but, you know, but to answer your question with Vegas, I would say Vegas is a good town to start and just if you have dreams of, you know, DJing for a living, this is a great place for sure.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. Actually,
cities that you'd recommend for starting DJing?
What was that?
Are there any other cities that you'd recommend for starting a career in DJing?
Other cities?
Yeah, like what's the second best city to start it up?
Second best city?
Miami, Dubai.
I would say LA. I would say LA. Shoot, I would say even the OC.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah,
the OC's got a pretty huge DJ scene, and you know, depending on what you want to do. Now, here's the thing, guys, and I know I've been saying it all night. Open format wise, if you become an open format DJ, you can pretty much get any gig you want. You're gonna get way more phone calls, for sure.
Who are the top open format DJs out?
Oh, like currently right now?
Currently right now.
DJ Chris Villa from Phoenix. He's one of my favorites.
Uh-huh. DJ AM, what was he open format? Would you say so?
DJ AM, he's the godfather of open format.
Yeah.
He's the godfather of open format. He was the guy, you know, kind of like when I saw my boy Ernie playing at Boiler Room. He was the guy that they expected him to play the typical songs you'd play at a club, and he was playing Blink 182. You know?
I saw him at a festival one time. He has this thing about fucking with the crowd, which is pretty cool.
You got to see him live?
Yeah, he was at a Halloween venue, and there were rumors around that venue saying that Daft Punk was going to be a secret guest. And so when DJ AM came out because it was Halloween. He came out in a Daft Punk costume, and everybody was fucked up, and everyone was rolling. So they're like, "Oh, Daft Punk's in here!" So, dude, I've never seen like a swarm of people rush into a warehouse like that, but everyone rushed in thinking it was Daft Punk because he opened up with a Daft Punk song. But then mid-set, he takes off the helmet and he's like flipping off the crowd.
Yeah.
And some people loved it, some people didn't, but I thought it was kind of cool because he was aware of what was going on with the crowd. Like, it was obvious that there was rumors of Daft Punk, so he kind of played into it, you know. And as a connoisseur of like what goes into DJing, that's like doing your homework and kind of doing the extra credit because you had some intel about the crowd too, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and he decided to be himself and pretty much trolled them and fooled them.
Yeah, which is what you do.
Yeah,
which is cool. The thing you do when you said you were playing Pokemon because Pokemon was big at the time. The most random thing I heard at the club, I was at a pool party in XS, and that was around the time Gangnam Style was big, and the DJ played Gangnam Style, and the whole club went crazy. So, like, people do.
It's a banger.
People appreciate the trendiness and the new stuff because, you know, sometimes that's the only time you'll play them because it's relevant at the time. Like, when else are you gonna hear Pokemon at the club? You know what I mean?
I hope I do sometime soon.
And get away with it. I don't think I could get away with it these days, though. Unfortunately, that's one of the reasons why I left the nightlife. Because I was starting to get booked at venues where they were not allowing any of that, even if the crowd is feeling it.
Yeah.
There was this place called Click. Have you guys heard of Click in the Cosmo?
No.
Where is that, a lounge there? Or?
Yeah, it's a lounge.
Okay.
They would not allow me to play any form of Latin music whatsoever. Like, I couldn't play reggaeton, even though there was a crowd for it.
Damn.
They only wanted 90s and 2000s hip hop and R&B for 6 hours. 6 hours, and I'm like, this is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like my 90s, 2000s hip hop and R&B. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy it, but playing it for 6 hours straight was just kind of like, you know. And I'll play till 3 in the morning, and it got to the point where I'm like, dude, this. I told the agent, I was like, man, I put somebody else in there. I'm not down with this. Management want to dictate. Management don't care about their guests. Management just cares about his playlist. It was one of those situations.
Well, that's why. So, has it ever come to a point where you're mixing music and you said like, "Fuck, I'm tired of this shit.
I'm gonna leave."
Music every day, you know, just listening to the same. Has it ever come to that point where you felt like you were burnt out and you kind of just want to say, "I'm kind of over this"?
Yeah, because sometimes for me, I listen to music or come back from a festival. I'm like, I don't want to listen to music for a week.
Well, my
You know what I
podcast
mean?
say.
Well,
Listen to people.
Well, there are times that I'll feel burnt. Like if I'm gigging like 4 or 5 times a week, yeah, after a while I'll get burnt out. You know, you'll just feel the fatigue. I mean, we're human beings. You know, we gotta have a day off at some point.
Right.
But back to open format. But because I'm an open format DJ, I never get bored.
Okay.
I never get bored because every time I go to, like, say the pool parties, like at Bally's or Planet Hollywood, it's always a different crowd. It's always a different crowd. You know, sometimes you'll have your Filipinos, you'll have your Asians, you'll have your Mexicans, you have white people, You know, you have your blacks. I mean, so it's always different. That's what I liked about open format is that some days I'll freaking play alternative. I'll play Blink 182 for the right crowd. You know, but there's days where I won't play it because they ain't gonna feel this, but they're gonna feel some 50 Cent or The Game or something.
And I imagine if you're tired, if the crowd is feeling it too, you kind of get a boosty from the crowd, right?
Bro, are you sure you're not an experienced DJ, Mr. Nasty Boy? Because you know it already. You're already answering your question, man. Like, yeah, I would say a lot of times, like, let's just say if I'm at my 4th gig of the week, all right, I'm tired, I'm driving, and I'm like, man, I'm kind of burnt out. But as soon as I see the vibe going, people loving the music, it's like it gives you an extra boost of energy.
That's good.
Yeah, I imagine that for like stand up and anything, right? Like even being a rapper. Let's say it's like your
makes it all worth it.
Yeah.
Because just from there, you know, I'm sure my comedian friend can relate. Because from there, like, you know, how like when you drive to your 9 to 5, how are you feeling? I mean, you're going to work, so you're playing your tunes, right?
Facts.
You're going to your 9 to 5. You know what to expect, right? You know what you're gonna do in your job. But then, as an entertainer, it's different. When you go into your job, yeah, you may be tired from doing a lot of shifts or whatnot, but when the energy is just going and everybody's liking your your lines and everything, you just get this second wind to where you're just having fun. You're being yourself.
Yeah.
And you're connecting with your audience, and it just becomes this surge of energy that you can just never get from any other field.
Facts.
I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, I'm sure you can get those moments with whatever job you're doing, Jermaine, or you, Darrell, like with the RT program.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are times when you get those moments at work where it's like, hey, this is not your typical work day. Something special is going on. Like either somebody told a joke, or somebody brought up something that was interesting, or you had an interesting conversation with somebody. You know. But with entertainment, it's like it's never the same.
I listened to this lecture about I think he's a neuroscientist, and it was about how to gain extra motivation or an extra energy when you're kind of feeling down. And they say a hack that you could do is if you tell your brain or you tell yourself that you're on the right path, like you're tired, but this is what you're supposed to be doing. It kind of gives you a sense of purpose, and it kind of gives you a boosty. And I imagine that kind of subconsciously happens when you're doing your thing and everyone's kind of feeling it. You know what I mean? You feel like, you kind of feel rewarded. Like, this is what I do it for. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of the phenomena that happens when you get that boosty from like a receptive crowd, right?
Yes, I agree with you because it's that sense of that, like, when, like, you don't have to be a DJ or a comedian, but when you do something that's rewarding, you just feel good. Like,
you do that shit for free.
That
yeah.
just helps your confidence, right?
Yeah.
It helps your mood, like, and you know how, like, you were saying that, you gotta, like, when you don't feel motivated, you gotta tell your brain, you gotta trick your brain into walking the right path or something.
Yeah.
So that even goes with practicing and prepping. There are times when I don't want to scratch. There are times that I'm like, nah, I don't feel like doing it. I'll practice my cuts another day. And then a week goes by, and then all of a sudden I go to a gig and I'm trying to scratch, and I'm like, my timing and rhythm is off today.
Yeah.
So from there, it's like now I've had situations like that, and so now I'm like, you know what? You kind of have to, how do I put it in words? So in those situations, and it could be in anything in life besides DJing, you have to, like, tell yourself to, even if you're not motivated, you got work to do. You gotta do it.
Facts. They say that people that are in shape wouldn't be in shape if they didn't go to the gym when they didn't feel like it. So it's kind of the thing too, right?
Same thing. Like, people, like you said, there are people that are, they're in good shape because they go on days where they don't want to go.
Speaking of working out in shape, kind of not a smooth segue, but have you ever ran in or met Manny Pacquiao?
Have I ever met Manny Pacquiao? No, I've never met
Keep working out.
Damn. One of my pointers over here was to actually talk about Manny Pacquiao because you're a boxing fan. You know what I mean? And I just remember, Jermaine, you're kind of in cahoots with his entourage, right?
Yeah.
Let's get that bitch on the podcast, dog.
I mean, we're cool with his family. I mean, before his fight, we were hanging out with like his daughters, and you know, like our kids, like we would take them out just because they were staying here. And they actually, after their dad Manny went back to the Philippines to do his like little presidential bid, his daughters actually stayed here for a little while. And they were kind of close by, and like, you know, we take them whenever we could. But yeah, it was cool just saying like, wow, you know, like this is Manny's daughter right here, and we're taking them out to eat. It was just like, and then you know we meet their mom, and you see her mom Jinky always on TV, and you know, like she was at the house, and we're all just hanging out. It was like a very surreal thing, and then just on Manny's fight, you know, Andrew was there. The last fight where he lost, unfortunately, but you know, there was a point where, like, I remember Andrew, and our friend Roman, we were going to get some White Castle after the fight, and we're at the taxi line, and then I get a call from my brother. He's like, "Hey, where are you? It's family only, but you got to come up to Manny's room." I was like, "What?" I was like, "All right." So I go over there, and you know, we're chilling, and there's food, and you know, it's just like a lot of Manny's like close friends and family in there. So it felt pretty cool being in there. You know, just we're close to him because my brother knows him, Mark. You know, that's how we do it. So I mean, I get to see him here and there whenever he's in town. I'll get to go to his house and stuff like that. So it's cool. But the closest I've been to him really was just like being with his, like, you know, like chaperoning the daughters whenever we had to. You know what I mean? So that was cool.
Hey, fuck Manny. Let's get his mom on the podcast. That'd be way better.
That's cool. You got Jermaine. You got the opportunity to not just hang with them, but babysit his kids.
I mean, Mike did most of it, to be frank, because you know, they were kind of closer to Mike and his girl, which is cool. You know, they relate to him more. But when we would take him out, it was always cool. Like, we were cool with him. Like I said, it was always trippy. I was like, dude, this is his kids with me right here.
Yeah.
And then, like, I remember Mike was telling me that they went to Jerry's Grill with the girls, and like everyone in there was like, "Oh my God, it's so and so, it's, you know, their names, like it's Queenie, it's Pacquiao's daughters." Like, people were like bugging them. So
you go in like this.
Damn. Yeah. I was like, dang, like, you know. But they actually said they like being out here because in the Philippines it's just like security 24/7 wherever they go. If they ride their bike, there's someone following in a car nearby just to make sure they're safe. So I'm glad they got to enjoy their freedom, and it was cool that they allowed us to share that freedom with them for a little bit. So that was cool.
Do you feel as his key and his power levels and his energy when you're close to Pacquiao?
I'm not gonna lie.
Hold on for a second, guys. Keep talking. I can hear you. I'm gonna blow my nose real quick.
Handle.
Keep talking.
That booger sugar. No, I mean, I've met Pacquiao, and like I've shook his hand, and like, dude, that dude's one solid motherfucker. Like, it's just
you could tell, dude. That fool's calves, like, he's built from the ground up.
I remember going like this on his shoulder. I was like, fuck, I didn't know you could like good muscle like that.
It's funny. I went to Wild Card one time to go watch him spar, and I was a big Manny fan, but bro was getting his ass kicked, bro. I was like, what am I watching right now? I was like, is this to get ready for if he gets beat up? Like, I don't get why he was getting beat up. You know what I mean?
I think where it was sometimes like he'll purposely get in there, and he would want like the sparring partner to just beat him up, and he would like sit there for rounds just trying to avoid it.
Nah, bruh, that's not it.
Well, was he taking like unnecessary punishment, or was it like to work on his defense?
If you were watching and you didn't know it was Pacquiao, you'd think the other guy was getting ready for a fight.
Getting his stooks.
Which one's Pacquiao? Hey, Ugas, Ugas fucked him up though, man.
Ugas was he just had a good game plan against him. It was a jab. I remember watching that fight live, sitting next.
Oh, is that the one you guys watched? You guys watched the Ugas fight? Ah, shit.
Yeah, I remember because it was supposed to be Spence, and we had tickets for Spence. Dog. I was like, fuck yeah, we were about to see Spence. But yeah, so I guess like I remember just sitting like probably like a few rounds, like maybe 6 rounds in. I look at Josh, I was like, yo, man, he's losing. And then he's like, I know, you got this guy sitting next to me. He's like diehard Manny. You know his fans, like they're super loyal, and you know I'm a huge Manny fan, but I also know when it's not a fair argument, you know, like. But I looked at Josh. I was like, yo, he's losing, and the guy's like, so he's like, no. There's still 6 more rounds. I was like, nah.
He almost got him.
Ugas has just been jabbing him all night, and he can't do anything past the jab.
Yeah.
I guess because I mean, obviously Pacquiao's past his prime.
Yeah.
Facts.
He would have been able to counter that jab in his prime for sure.
Yeah.
But you know.
But I mean, there's being in his room after that. I remember like after the fight, they were all saying like, yeah, like when he got jabbed in the eye or whatever, Ugas is it's a glove, like,
nah, we're tired of that shit. We're tired.
Yeah, like, so I was like, oh, you know, it's just probably some weird shit, like, you know, they're just trying to say like he had but like when I saw him come down from the roof, dude, his eye was red. Like they were saying there was a tear because of a jab he took to the eyeball. And so he said that's why it was like kind of hard for him to like really move. I was like, damn. So he was wearing sunglasses at like 11:30 at night in the room.
Dude, sparring, like if you take a good punch, like the focus point is like the tip of your knuckle, right? If you take a good punch where only the tip of your knuckle hits and it hits your eyeball, sometimes you'll react like I got eye poked, but really you just got fucking beamed in the eyeball. You know what I mean? And that shit's scary because I feel like you could burst your eyeball from that. It's just fucking not worth it as a boxer. I feel like.
Yeah, so I guess that's like just being there. You're kind of seeing the other sides of the fight because when you watch as a fan, you just see that. But then when I saw him, man, I was like, oh shit, his eye was fucked up. Like, and they were saying like that's why his right eye was blurry. Like he was like trying to like time the shots, but he was like couldn't fucking see.
I'd say Manny at this point in his age, he's kind of like a boxing Anderson Silva, but he's still winning fights, which was the crazy thing about Pacquiao, right?
Yeah.
Beat Keith Thurman, that was impressive.
That was
a good fight too.
Yep.
You know,
it's because of his experience and his smarts. I mean, he was a slugger at first, but he became smarter as he got older.
Well, I mean, Marquez made him stop doing that shit. To be
but like after the 5th, 6th time, though, you know.
So after he finally went night from Marquez, he's like, I gotta change my ways.
Yeah, and the thing is, see, most sluggers, they can't fight past 35 because they just know how to slug.
Yep.
But obviously, man, he's smart. You know, he does have skill. You know, he beat Thurman technically.
He did.
You know, so a lot of the fighters that are technically sound, they last longer. I mean, look at Roberto Duran. He fought till he was 50.
Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, Mayweather. Well, I mean, I don't know if I want to give credit to his last exhibition fight, but at the same time, I mean,
you're talking about against Logan Paul.
What's that?
You're talking about against Logan Paul.
Oh, against Logan Paul. Sorry, guys, too much edibles. I'm just kidding.
You know, Floyd's last good fight for me was Canelo. I think that was his last good fight.
I like the Maidana fights. That was pretty.
Yeah, those were cool too, but
the first one
Canelo,
in particular.
He fucking took Canelo to school all night, and I remember people were going so hard for Canelo because he was like up and coming. And I actually thought if Canelo landed that one shot, but no, you saw how quick Floyd was that night.
Masterclass. That's one of the fights I show people.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up with picks. Canelo or Triple G?
Triple G.
What you got, Jeff?
Ask the comedian first. I got to think about that.
My boxing experience is not. Don't ask me this question.
He says Conor McGregor.
I've heard of them, but I just don't know. I can't quantify them.
Just pick the one that's more familiar to you, then.
Oh, okay, Triple G.
So I heard Triple G. Who did he fight last?
Some Japanese dude.
And he got some shots into him, right? He put up a good fight. Triple G won, but the other guy was putting up a fight. So I heard.
I mean, that's the kind of fights like Triple G wants. He wants you to throw because he wants to throw, you know?
So I heard Paulie Malignaggi talking about how Triple G's kind of older, took a beating kind of the last fight. But Canelo, he just kind of got outboxed. He didn't really take damage. And he's kind of fighting with a chip on his shoulder. So I'm going to go with Canelo, bro. Because I honestly thought he won the first draw, too, technically. Which is debatable.
How do you have that scored, Jeff? I mean, I have it Triple G got the first one and then draw second fight, but more leaning to Canelo in the second.
I had Triple G winning the first fight, and then the second fight, I felt Canelo definitely deserved the nod. It was a close one. So for the third fight, who's gonna win? It's so hard to freaking say it, man. I you know what? But I understand that I can't just not answer and just be honest and toss up. I don't know. I would have to go with Triple G.
Triple G's, huh? That's 3 for Triple G.
I would have to go for Triple G. I mean, because yeah, Canelo didn't take a huge beating against Bivol, but I know that's gonna mess with his confidence a bit. Because obviously Bivol hurt him because Canelo wasn't just trying to rush in. He knew he couldn't mess around with Bivol. Bivol had enough power to keep him honest. But Triple G has more power than Bivol. I mean, because Triple G isn't a technical boxer; he's a puncher.
Yep, he's a slugger, kind of technical slugger, I would say.
Yeah, he's a technical slugger. I mean, he could box, but I would have to go with Triple G.
All right, last one: Usyk or Fury. That's a good one. If you really know what's up, that's a fucking good one.
Ooh, that is a tough one. I
want to hear what Jeff's picking.
Yeah, me too.
All right, because I'm gonna just break it down like this. I'm not gonna go too long, but so, AJ. Okay, so on the rematch with AJ and Usyk, AJ was having some success going to the body when he was fighting on the inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was having success fighting in the inside, but the thing is, Fury, on the other hand, even being a big man, he's way better than AJ fighting on the inside. He'll use his size for sure. So, how I see the fight playing against Usyk is, Fury will probably try to box a little bit, be like, all right, see what this guy's boxing skill is all about. And I feel that Usyk's a bit more technical than Fury for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I feel he's more technical, but once Fury's like, hey, you know what? I can't outbox this guy and imposes his size. I feel like he's gonna win. It won't be an easy fight, but I feel that Fury's gonna win based on inside fighting and pressure, because he's gonna put his body weight on him like he did Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, if it goes inside, if somehow he's able to close the distance, I think the advantage goes to Fury. If it's a distance game, I mean, I do think that Usyk's the better boxer, footwork-wise, movement-wise, kind of harder to catch than Fury, which Fury is kind of used to being the harder guy to catch. But I think if they exchange, Fury has the harder punches. I mean, it shows he fucking floored Fury. Or, what's his face? Wilder.
Dude, Wilder was gassed after, 4
I had him winning. I had him winning that fight up until... Yeah, he looked like his shorts weighed 80 pounds and shit.
Yeah, I remember after the first one, he said his whole gear that he was walking to the ring tired him out. It was 100 pounds. What? Ah, man.
The fight to make is AJ versus Wilder. I think that's a good fight to make.
You know play fucking Wilder fights, it's like when you're playing Fight Night and from round 1 you're throwing haymakers.
Your turbo stick is fucking stuck.
You're just holding R2 down and swinging, trying to throw a haymaker. That's how Wilder fights to me. It's just like, dude, you're done after.
R2 circle all day, baby.
Yeah, but yeah, like you said, I really, it'd be cool to see. Who do you think would win that, Jeff? AJ or Wilder?
AJ or Wilder?
Yeah.
Good one.
I think it's pretty obvious though.
Oh man,
It's a good one too.
You know what? Wilder.
You think so?
I agree.
Because Wilder has a stronger chin.
That is true.
And even though because AJ would probably try to box like he did Ruiz.
Yeah, and
But,
we saw what happened there.
Eventually, what's his name? Damn, I'm having brain fart right now. Wilder's gonna catch up to him. There you go. Yeah.
I think Anthony Joshua would probably benefit cutting weight. He's too bulky, I think, and I don't know. He might, if he cuts weight, it might screw him over because he's fighting faster people. But I just think that, I don't know. He's not beating any of the top right now. I feel. I say fight Wilder and call it, win or lose. But
That would be a good fight.
But yeah, thanks for joining, Jeff. It's like an hour 30 right now.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. This is my first podcast.
Hell yeah.
There you go.
And hopefully what was that?
Oh, thanks for coming through, man. This was really cool.
Oh yeah, you're welcome. It was a pleasure. Hopefully, I was able to say some how do you say, some insightful things, or that you guys or anybody else listening and tuning into this podcast learn a thing or two.
For sure, I did.
I'm all about teaching too. I mean, I'm not a teacher or a professor or anything, but if you were gonna ask me a bunch of questions about DJing, I'm gonna answer them all.
That's what's up. Do you have anywhere anybody can find you if people are listening? They want to get a hold of you.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, JeffTunek, but it's spelled Jeff, JEFF, and then PUNQUE at Instagram.
JeffTunek at Instagram, and we're finally on YouTube and Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Just find K4V3, and that should lead you to it. Thanks for joining us. Got Jeff over here. Thanks to Jermaine, Andrew, and we'll catch you on the next one.
You're gonna Twitch right now, Jeff? What are you about to do? You look like you're about to do a live.
Yeah, you should go live, dude.
I'm about to go to bed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ever since I stopped the nightlife, I wake up at 6, 7 in the morning now.
Jeff sleeps in the studio. Step your game up.
But I practiced my cuts 2 hours straight earlier. Just trying to be sharp.
So that's what's up, man.
And
right,
before we conclude this podcast, all I have to say is that anything in life you want to achieve or get better at, it's about consistency. That's all I gotta say. It's about consistency. Whether you don't want to do it, but you have to do it because you want to get to that certain level, you push yourself. So
Message.
Consistency is key to everything.
Facts.
Oh,
Well,
Tell them.
did you do an air horn?
Yeah, I use my voice.
There you go.
My name's
You
Jeff.
need to make a soundboard for us.
Oh yeah.
Get that Elgato soundboard.
All right, guys. Catch you next time. Peace out.